Vibrillionaire Soul greetings and blessings, beautiful Vibrillionaire Soul family. Loving, living the Vibrillionaire lifestyle all day, every day. Welcome. I am Michael, along with my wife Alice. We are the founders and visionaries of Samadhi State Wisdom Meditation School, serving both locally, humbly from our hearts out of Yuma, Arizona, all over the world. I am honored, and I am so blessed and so grateful and so humbled to be able to share this amazing journey with all of you and to share my ripple of service, our ripple of service, that we are coming together in such a beautiful way all around the world. Global meditations happening everywhere, people uniting, collaborating, coming together, and just a beautiful way, and alignments happening from within all around us in this beautiful time that we are in right now. And the reason for this video is because I am going to be doing a 15-minute of silence in English and in Spanish, starting at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, Spanish at 6:30 Mountain Standard Time, which is 5 and 5:30 Pacific Standard Time. And I'm doing this video so you can have practical instructions and a preview of awareness of how the meditation practice for me has served me so much in my life and continues to serve me to this day. And the practice is very simple. And what it reminds us is that we are more than what we think we are. We are more than what we believe we are. We are more than what we perceive we are and what we see and hear. And the practice is to really stimulate a deeper sensory that goes beyond the brain. It is an inner sensory. It is an inner. Blessings Advanced Coaching. Thank you for joining us. This is a practice to awaken the inner sensory of our causal body, not our physical body, not our psychological body, because our psychological body is the identity that we've believed to be. So this is why we have so many transformative results. And one thing that humbly I love to share, I become more of an expert at helping people to help themselves gain silence, gain stillness, and gains awareness, and much more, of course. The list of benefits is immense, is so immense. So without further ado, I would like to remind you, the viewer, that you are not just this physical person that you think you are. And if you look all around us, technology reminds us in mirrors that there's energy that we can't see. There's transactions, there's conversations, there's emails, there's texts, there's so much happening all around us, and we can't see it as we believe it. And this is a practice to awaken not belief, but a knowing that you are more than what you think you are. So what we do is when we go into the meditation, we're not going into the meditation, first of all, intention is so important. So when you go into the meditation, it's not to escape reality. It's not to cover up or hide or push away something. It's to reacquaint yourself with the relationship with you. That's it. Because when you reacquaint yourself with the relationship of you, you open up because you become more relaxed, you become more present, and the energy just starts coming up and it starts maturing, and it matures you. So as you start letting go, as you start surrendering, and surrendering doesn't mean you lose because so many people connect the word, that's a whole nother class in of itself. And this is why we give our classes. So if you'd like to know more, please message us and we would be honored to serve you. The practice is simple. Is when a thought comes to mind, to the brain, because mind is something completely different. When thought comes to the head, to the brain, don't identify with it. If it's positive or negative, if it's so chaotic or so beautiful, remember the brain is attempting to maintain control and direct you, because we haven't gained that maturity. So it's like we want to drive our vehicle, but if we're not mature enough, we won't be able to drive. So the brain has been driving this experience in the majority. So what we're doing is we're maturing to show the brain, I can drive. But the only way to mature and show the brain is going to the heart. Much more deeper. There's something much more genuine, much more pure, with much more substance and much more cause. Going to the cause of reality, not just the effects. Because the brain, as long as you give attention to sound, sight, taste, touch, thought, because thought is a whole other body. We have a thought body. And like I said, I've described in many of our videos, especially if you take our course, if you take our private classes, we can go in depth with that. But many people don't realize that if you're in the thinking process, you can only go so far. You cannot consciously transcend thought. So this practice is to transcend thought, is to penetrate the thought body and to really access, which is really within, but I'm explaining it so it makes sense. Because you're penetrating deeper, thinking you're going out, but you're really going inwards. Because who you are is deep within you. You're projecting all of this. And as immense as all of this is, it's really from your innerverse. So that being said, when you have a thought, when you have an emotion, when you have a perspective, it's really important to stay vigilant and disciplined without trying to put effort or control or will to do it. This is a surrendering practice. So the more you can surrender, the more you can let go, because you can't be more of who you are. It's impossible. And you can't be less of who you are. It's impossible. You're always who you are. The thoughts have convinced us, and we've been influenced. That's why we're so easily influenced. If you look all around the world, we're so easily influenced. So the way to become free, the way to liberate the self, is to liberate the thought body, is to go beyond the thinking brain. And that's when liberation starts truly in sovereignty starts truly happening, and you start realizing that no matter what anybody says, what nobody does, what anybody doesn't do, you are more free because you're not being guided or directed by trying to control your external reality. It's like water flows down a river, but it doesn't try to force the rock. By just flowing and doing what it does best, just flowing around it, the rock gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And it's also like when you look like at an ocean, in a pond. And you look at the pond, and the more you try to stir the pond up so you can see, the more cloudy it gets, the more misted it gets. But when you just sit back and you relax and you just sit staring at the pond, just do this practice. Go to a pond, stir it up, because it's going to physically help you to bring that awareness in, because nature is one of our greatest teachers. So stir the pond and just watch the pond. And over time, you'll see the dust start to settle to the bottom of the pond. And when it goes to the bottom of the pond, you'll see clarity. So with that being said, is don't identify with the thoughts. Don't give any attention to the thoughts. And come back to the breath. Bring your attention back to the breath. And when you bring your attention back to the breath, excuse me one second. When you bring your attention back to the breath, don't identify with the breath. Don't stay with the breath. This is so important. Breathe a couple of deep breaths. Be conscious of the breath, but then see the breath as a bridge of surrender that's going to bring you back to where you truly are. And as you bring because remember, it's not will. You can't will yourself there. You're already here. The minute that you will yourself, you force yourself, you strain yourself, you think yourself there, you're in the head. It's the surrendering. It's the effortless effort that is this skill that is so needed, especially in this time. And this is why I'm doing this, because so many people are hearing about meditation, but they don't really realize the true practice of meditation, which I say true practice because in that silence, you become your own, you realize you're your own guru. And in the silence is the greatest teacher. The silence is the greatest guru. The silence is the greatest reminder. So as you're using the breath to relax and you sit, and you're going to catch yourself the minute you're like, oh my gosh, this feels so good, you're back in the head. So bring yourself back to the breath, ease on down to the center. And you don't have to think about this, just do the practice. And this is mental yoga. This is, spiritual yoga. This is, mental and spiritual kung fu. Like kung fu is like mastery, right? It's being fully conscious and intentional in the practice and being full in, like all in what you're doing. So this is kind of contradictory because you're being all in without forcing of being all in. So by letting go, you are awakening who you are and where you are and what you are and why you are in one. So as you are meditating, thoughts are going to come. But I like to ask our students, if you can have 10 seconds, 1 minute of clear thought, like just clarity, would that be worth it? They say yes, because they're just overthinkers, right? So many of us, we're experts at thinking. But as babies, we didn't think. We just observed. And then we started learning or being programmed to think by language, by, education, by, societal, generational knowledge and awareness, right? So we become so experts at thinking that now we just need to reverse the process. And if we really set our intentions, when we really step into this, we can transcend what took us, some of us, I don't know, like what your age is watching this, but you can be, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years young, but you do this practice, you can do this in 3 months to 6 months where you're starting to really dive into that silence. And you can do it in, I'm not going to put a time frame on it. I've seen people do it, 1 week, 1 month. So depending on the level that you show up in, like the degree of your devotion to the practice. And then this practice is going to help you when things are happening out here, not to take it personal, to really bring your causal reality into this world. Because that's what this world needs, is wisdom and intelligence, life. There's so much information, there's so much, knowledge and education that really, with all the comforts and convenience and everything that we have at our beck and call, why are we so stressed out? 99% of the planet is so stressed out. Ask yourself why. Ask yourself why you can't sleep at night. Ask yourself why you continue to repeat the same cycles in the same repetitive behaviors that you've always done. And if you can transform your life in 3, 6 months to a year to 2 years from now, it trumps the 20, 30, 40, 50 years or 60, 70 years that you've been working on, that you've slowly matured. This is rapid transformation. This is rapid involvement of your. So this is a short video. Really, really exercise this practice. And also, when you're being silent, make sure you're not, in the past or in the future, you're not trying to control the process. You're not looking, or very important, there's no expectation, there's no conditions, and there's no judgment, because you're stepping into unconditional love, because you are the source of unconditional love. That is who we are. And we want to see it out here. We want unity, we want peace, we want compassion, we want patience, we want love, we want joy. But the one that we neglected is to ourselves. So we're participating in being what is that word? Being an accomplice to what we've manifested collectively. So now we can be a participant and a collaborator in bringing more love, joy, peace, patience, compassion, wisdom, and a deeper truth by our own individual practice. And then we're going to become a magnet, and I see this within my own life, become a magnet that people are going to ask you, I feel something about you. I don't know how to put my finger on it, but there's something about you that's different. And they're going to transcend what you have or what you don't have, like how you talk or how you don't talk, how you dress or how you don't dress. Look at me. I don't dress fancy. I just dress like normal because I know there's something much deeper that represents me. And this is what I intend and desire for humanity, because show up as you are, because you are beautiful, you are perfect, you are brilliant. You are more than enough as you are, more than you can ever even imagine. So just meditate on that. And the more you do this practice, the more you're going to realize how skillful you always have been. Because this is your nature. So to align with your nature is going to be right there with you. Source, spirit, God, universe, creator is going to be right there with you. And let me share this. Make sure you hydrate yourself. Even when you go into the practice of meditation, drink a glass of water. And make sure you're maintaining your hydration. Make sure you're getting living foods, living hydration in your body. And when you come out of your meditation, it's very important not just to come out and go back to the world. Because remember, we're exercising an ancient energetic muscle, vibration, this presence. And when you come out of meditation, just sit for a moment and pretend like this is your first day on this planet, or pretend like you're a baby being born and you don't know what anything is. Don't identify with anything. Don't label anything. You see a bottle, look beyond the bottle. I know this is going to sound weird, but this practice has liberated so many. Because when you can let go of labels, when you can let go of putting things in boxes, because as we put more things in boxes, we put ourselves in a box. And we put ourselves in a box, in boxes, and boxes, and boxes. And that's why so many people feel like no matter what they do, they feel empty. They continue to believe that they're not good enough. No matter how many people they help, they are still in that survival mode instead of that thriving mode. So when you come out of meditation, it's important that you stay present and just be. And the more you do this, the more you're going to realize this is just going to come up to the surface. And this is what my wife and I are more experts of to help you. And of course, transforming those thought patterns and, having, that one-on-one mentorship is going to like accelerate and advance your practice, because there's things that when we go in meditation, we may not be aware of. So as you bring it up to the surface and you speak it, so that's so important to be vulnerable with people you can trust, of course, not just, somebody that's going to use that vulnerability. For those of you that just want to be vulnerable, just find somebody you can trust. And the one person you can trust is yourself. But find someone you can trust to be vulnerable with. Because the more you become vulnerable, the more you free yourself, the more you love yourself. And the density programs, those constructs are going to start to become more subtle, become more buoyant, become more light. Like not light like light, but become lighter in its pressure, in its weight. So yeah, I trust that this practice will serve you in a great way. And join us every day for a silent meditation, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 6:30 Spanish, and we will go into silence every day for 15 minutes. Because when you can be silent and you can be still, that's the greatest act of trust, act of unconditional love, act of acceptance, act of value that one can give to oneself. Because think about it, when you listen to your best friend, you're just quiet, and then you have something to share. But if you're not quiet, you're not really going to get to know your best friend. If you're always doing the talking, you're never going to know who they are. But if you listen and you're present, you're going to get to know parts of you that you never knew before, and really embrace the unknown, because there's so much beauty in the unknown. Of course, we get to dig into those old programs and patterns that we get to transform. That's why a mentor is so important in this process, because if you can't do it alone, it's great to know that you have mentorship, that people are there where you're seeking to be, and that are going to continue to evolve in their process, that as I evolve myself, I'm going to bring greater practice into my service. So it's very important to align with somebody who's living what you're looking for, not just teaching or talking. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me for this short, brief moment. And I look forward to meditating in the silence with all of you. And please share this video. And for people that are looking to meditate is just putting your focus attention on something. So we see the results of meditation all around us, because so many are meditating on fear. So many are meditating on confusion, because that's what it really is: ignorance, confusion, fear. And meditating on, judgment and all these different, pride, ego. And it's beautiful when you can meditate on unconditional love, on trust, on wisdom, on truth, and really start shedding those layers of limited truth to awaken deeper parts of absolute truth. And to get to the absolute truth, only the source knows. Only spirit knows, only God knows, only creator knows, only universe knows, only the universe knows. So the closer that we can get more intimate with that, the greater our relationship will be, and our relationship with our divinity will be. And this is what the world needs us to bring into this world, and we get to do it. And thank you for all of you that are doing it. And thank you if this is your first time, because you will not regret it. You'll never be the same, because you'll get to know parts of you that you can never even dream or imagine that you are, that you had, that you were searching for, working for, and striving for. When it was you, it was there the whole time. So thank you. We'll see you in the next video. And I did do my first YouTube live. So if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel. Help us get more subscribers. That way we can do lives on our phone when we're on the road, because that's the only thing about YouTube. Unless you have 1,000 subscribers, you cannot do lives on your phone, and you cannot share stories on YouTube. And I do desire to impact every format in soul media platform that I can, because that is different microphones, and that is different opportunities to serve. Thank you so much. Blessings, everyone. And please act, take action on what you come into in your world, because information is not going to do it. It's the practice. It's the awakening of the awareness within the practice, and the maturity of the soul, because the soul doesn't see the positive or the negative in the experience. It's just experiencing. And the more you can become neutral and center yourself and become one with yourself, the more you're going to see it in the world. So let's send that ripple out, because your practice is important. Your life example is important. The way that you are showing up and you're voicing without speaking is important. Do you react or do you respond? Don't unconsciously react. Consciously respond. And take the ability to respond in your life by taking the responsibility in your life. Not take, excuse me. but merge and awaken the responsibility in your life. Thank you. Blessings. Namaste. What? Hold on a second. And I don't see no comments on YouTube, so I'm just going to go ahead and exit out of YouTube. So, blessings, everyone.